So today we are going to talk about something that is actually one of the, it's a quote on my website that guides a lot of my work, especially especially in the last couple of years. So that quote is from Lily Tomlin. It is literally on the top of my website. And the quote is, it doesn't matter if you win the rat race because you're still a rat. Let me say that again. It doesn't matter if you win the rat race because you're still a rat. I usually don't ask it this early, but anybody have any things to say about that quote before we start? I want to break that down and what that means and what I think it means. I mean, you could disagree with me, but anyone have anything to say about that quote? Karen says, a friend of mine got a promotion. He said to me, bigger race, and now bigger rat. Very good, Karen. I love that. I love that. Very good. Very good. Okay. So let's say it one more time. Doesn't matter if you win the rat race because you're still a rat. It's so good, Karen. That's so good. So what happens is that we are lulled from a very early age into believing that the race is what it's all about, right? Especially in Western cultures, right? So this is just my take. My take is that we're lulled into believing that when you get successful, when you get happy, when you get the guy, when you get the girl, when you get the thing, when you finally get there, then everything is going to be hunky-dory. Then everything's going to be great, right? So you win the rat race, but you're still a rat, right? So you win. He gets the job, right? You get the girl. You get the promotion. You get the happiness. You get the spiritual enlightenment. You get the whatever it happens to be. It's a race. It's always a race. It's a race to get somewhere other than where you are, right? So there's that, first of all. To get somewhere other than where you are, right? Now, so that's it. That's the beginning of that, right? So we're constantly and always being given this message from the media, from our families, from our culture, from our friends. Not every one of those, right? But in general, that it's time to get somewhere. It's time to move. It's time to accomplish. It's time to, nothing's wrong with any of this because nothing's wrong with moving. Nothing's wrong with accomplishing. It's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just the orientation to that, right? So the rats are racing around trying to build the next rat hole. Rat hole. Rat, whatever. I'm trying to get the next cheese, whatever it is. Now, this is what's happening everywhere. The commercials are going to tell you it. Family, just said that, right? The second part is the more important part. Doesn't matter if you win the rat race. First of all, you're going to either win or lose. You're going to win or you're going to lose. That's it. There's no in between. There's no in between. You're going to win, you're lose. This is the definition of what? Duality. The definition of duality, and duality equals suffering. Just so you know, when you live in duality, you suffer. That's fine, but that's what happens. Now, the second part's the more important part. You're still a rat. So you win, and then you go, okay, I won. Okay, I won. Yay. And then you get that high, and then you go back to being, I'm still a rat, right? Or you lose, and then you lick your wounds, and you get depressed or you get angry, and then you're still a rat. You're still a rat. The whole point of this is that you cannot, here's the quote, here's how it relates, right? So it relates from what Einstein said. You can never solve a problem at the level at which the problem was created. So what that means is that you're going to continue doing the same thing, getting the same answer. And there's only one or two answers. You're going to win or lose. So this is why you suffer. You win, and then that this sugar high, and then you go down, and then you do something else, or you lose, and then you pick up, and you. So this is what life is for many people. It's this constant circle of winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, lose, 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 win, lose, 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 win, 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 lose, lose, lose. That's what life is for many, many, many separated selves or egos, right? And it might have been for you, maybe not anymore. But the orientation is that you are still the rat running in the rat race. So, what if you aren't a rat? What if you aren't a rat? This is all one of the reasons why a lot of great spiritual teachers ask you, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? To ask yourself, who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? Because until you know who you are, you will continue to do this. You will continue to do this. And I dare to say is that you might be using the spiritual search for the exact same reason, so you can win the spiritual search. I said before that you might be doing this to win the spiritual prize, which is what? Enlightenment or awakening. It's the same thing. You're still a rat that's now a spiritually awake rat. But who are you? Who are you? That's the question. And I think a better question is, what are you? What are you? And when that starts to happen and you start to look, something starts to change. Something starts to change. Take a deep breath. Kelly says, spot on. Rachel says, this is so good. Why is this so good? Why is it so spot on? Kelly also said, why can't we just be content? Because you can't be content in the moment, because the rat will never be content. The rat will never be content. Ever, ever, ever. Or for 5 minutes, then it's like, oh, fuck that. Let's go. Right? For my money, this is the crux of the whole frickin' deal. The crux of the deal. This is what I have come to after, 40 something years of doing this work, is that what most people believe is their life is running around in the circle, in the circle, in the circle, in the circle. And then the circle stops for a second. They go, well, I don't like the circle that way, so we'll go this way. No, we'll go this way, and then, no, we'll go that way. Oh, no, we'll go that way. And he's staying in this loop, a very small, closed loop of what we call our life. That's the rat race. That's the hamster wheel. I had a meme for a while, and it just had a hamster with those hamster wheels on it. And it said, are you on the wheel or are you off the wheel? And I used to send it to my randomly to my students every once in a while. I'd be like, are you on the wheel or are you off the wheel? Right? But anyway, it doesn't even matter if you're on the wheel or if you're off the wheel, if you're still a rat. If you still believe you're a rat, now you're a rat just off the wheel. Do you get it? Now you're a rat just off the wheel. There's nothing wrong with any of that. But it's the orientation to the rat that is the issue here. Because that is not who you are. You need to know you're a rat first. That's for sure. Or you've been playing the rat game. The rat game. Right? Okay. Nina says, our little life. Lauren says, even the spiritual rat race is exhausting. That's right, Lauren. That's exactly right. So why do it? Ask yourself why you're doing it. I don't know why you're doing it. But you can answer that. Why are you on the spiritual rat race? Because I'm a rat. I want to go. I have a rat story. I have a rat story that's so funny. Here's a rat story. So I live in New York City, right? So the other day I'm going down. It was late at night, and I'm going down the subway to go home. And I'm going down the stairs in West 4th Street Station. I'm going down the stairs, and as I'm going down, this big rat runs up the side, and I'm like, "Oh, there's a rat!" And the guy behind me is like, "Whoa!" I was just like, "Oh, there's a rat." It's like we're living in the Matrix. We are living in the Matrix. That's right. Read Schopenhauer. The whole Matrix thing is based on Schopenhauer. When I saw the Matrix, I'm like, someone read Schopenhauer. Read Schopenhauer. Then you'll go, oh shit, that's what it's about. Yeah, read Schopenhauer. Lauren says, it's a never-ending search, and the rat keeps thinking there's something out there that's going to get me to enlightenment. That's right. That's right. Kelly, I am a being, a spirit, a soul, a creation of the world, just trying to learn and grow each day. Maybe you're something else. Maybe you're not a you. I mean, it's the NYC subway, so, well, yeah, of course. That's right. I was just going to say that, Tiffany. Spiritual enlightenment, the damnedest thing. The damnedest thing. How do we release the radish ways? The radish ways. And now, of course, I'm thinking of Ratatouille. Erica, you can't release the radish ways because the rat will never let go of being a rat. So you can't do it. Hey, that's a very crappy answer, but you can't do it. Kyrie says, I was in a religion for a long time and it was exhausting trying to reach the impossible perfection. That is exactly right, Kyrie. And then for sure, in many religions, you just have this perfection that you have to reach. That's the race is in religions, it's a ladder. Usually it's like, oh, if you get good enough, you get good enough, then you're good enough to go to heaven. Then you're good enough to whatever, because you were born horrible, of course. You're not worth anything. Or whatever. You've strayed off the path. You ate the apple. Really? So the question is, what are you? And are you a you? Are you even a you? Do you know what you are? Do you know what you are? Now, there is no answer to that question. Because if you come up with an answer to that question, it's the you coming up with an answer to that question. It's the rat defining the rat. I'm just a better, more enlightened rat. Now I'm a rat that sits in lotus position. But you're still a rat. There's no answer to this question. This is all energetic, right? This is all energetic. That's the closest thing. When people are saying resonate before and all that stuff, it's... There's no answer. Take a deep breath. So, We're going to play some music, but let's wait a second to play the music. Once this starts to happen to you, there's no turning back. I guarantee you. Once it truly starts to happen, that you start to see what's going on in this very, very whatever quote that's said Lily Tomlin said it 1,000,000 years ago. And you start to see about the rat. And you start to, and it's not that you that sees it. Something dawns on you. Something comes up to nobody. And when that starts to happen, everything will change. Tomorrow or Friday, we're going to talk about the meaning you're giving things, which is a huge part of it, right? So it's really, and you resonate with this or not. And then some people resonate. Some people are like, I don't understand. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Tiffany says, seems contradictory, but really it's the piece that you feel like is missing. The fact is that you already are there, that it's already here. It's already here. It's already happening. So there's living in the dream state. The rat's living in the rat race. Another analogy that I use is the ant farm. Remember ant farms? I think they still have them. But remember the piece of plexiglass and the sand, and then you had to get the ants. I always was like, how do you get the ants? Anyway, you had to put sugar in a bowl and get the ants and put them in there, and then you see the ants making their tunnels and everything in that thing, and you watched it and you're like, oh, they're making that and they're doing that, and those ants in that ant farm really were into what they were doing, right? So they were really into building that tunnel and moving that stuff to get that tunnel and and they are not going anywhere. No matter what they do, they are going to stay in that ant farm. That's a trap, a rat trap. It's the rat race, and it stays in there. And every rat is like, oh, I'll help you build that thing. And then the ant helps the other ant build the thing. And then they're building this other thing. And then they get to the top. And then they're like, okay, wait a second, we're at the top. And then what do they do when they're on the top? They go back down underneath, and then they start to dig again. Dig again. It's the perfect analogy for what the egoic separate self does with life, until it realizes that it is not an ant in an ant farm. If you know the cave analogy, it's the same thing. Looking at the shadows in the cave and thinking that's the reality. You look at the cave and you're like, oh, look at those shadows, that's real. Then one person one day gets free and then leaves the cave, and it's like, oh my God, there's a whole life out here. And then it comes back to tell the people that are still locked in the cave, you don't understand. There's a whole life going on out there. And they're like, you're crazy. This is insane. Blah, 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 blah. And they want to stay there looking at the shadows, thinking that that's life. And then the person that comes back that got free goes, oh, well, okay, go ahead. And goes and lives life. And the other ones are like, he's insane. It's exactly the same thing. You're not the ant in the ant farm. You're not the rat in the rat race. I can't tell you what you are, but there is something else going on. Something else. Something else. Something